goofy smile as I try to find my lipstick. It's in here somewhere. I know it is. My backpack. Oh. Maybe I should put my ears in too. My backpack is so full of stuff. It's not even funny. I think my backpack weighs 10 or 15 or 20 pounds. Hey, Janet. And I am going to weigh it today because it's out of control. Okay, I'm trying to find my lipstick. So I can actually have lips on camera. Not look like a turtle. Talking turtle head. Can you hear me? I'm asking because sometimes I'm not fully connected or whatever. And I need whoever comes on first gives me a sound check. Sound check. 1 2 1 2. All right, so I am like pumped up today, which is not even a phrase that I typically use, but it's been an interesting week so far. Starting on Saturday, I got all kinds of amazing breakthroughs, and now I'm like sliding down a path that's irrelevant. None of that matters to good morning. None of that matters to what I'm talking about today. All right, so this is Travel Chat. Maybe I should start there. This is Travel Chat. This is the show where I use my super long commute to talk through my personal development, to talk through the epiphanies that I've had in the previous 24 hours, to kind of tell you what I'm thinking about, what I'm doing. I do this anyway. Like, I talk to even before 7:30, before I come on at 7:30 because my faithful friend listens and watches every single day from Colorado, and that's kind of like too freaking early for her to get up to watch me. So I'm talking to myself from the get-go. So I don't know. We've all been taught that when we're talking to ourselves, especially if we're answering ourselves, then like something's wrong with us or whatever. That is not true. That is how you come up with your best ideas, because you are your own best counsel. Your opinion is the only opinion you should trust. And too many times, I remember growing up hearing that, people would be like, oh, you're talking to yourself. As long as you're not answering, it's okay. And, good thing I didn't accept that. Like, good thing I just stopped telling people I was talking to myself, unless they caught me doing it. But you're your own best counsel. And too many times we think that we should, like, you have an idea and you have to go ask like 11 people, hey, I was thinking about doing this. Is this a good idea? What do you think about that? Would you do this? Would you do that? Well, guess what? Nobody knows your life and your circumstance like you do. Like, you're the only one who can make a decision that would make sense for your life. And furthermore, that's how you learn to trust yourself. If you make a decision that has a bad outcome, and I don't want to say you made a bad decision, because you made the best decision that you could make at the time, but say it had a bad outcome. If you made that decision because someone else told you to make that decision, you would feel like crap. You'd be like blaming the other person for the way everything turned out. But if you think it through for your own best interest and you make that decision based on what you thought was the best thing to do, then it's easy to say, you know what? Okay, I learned something. Next time I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that differently. Like, this is just, this is just how I learn. And it may be painful, it may be extremely painful, but at least you know that that mistake was made based on something that you did because you wanted to, not because you were just blindly following somebody else's idea of what the right thing to do is. So yes, I said all that to say that I have, I've taken my insanity public. So now I not only talk to myself in the car, but I turn on the camera, because in my mind, in my reasoning, somebody else may hear something that I say and it may spark something in them, and they may decide that they also want to change their life. So in January of 2018, I decided that I needed to change my life because, and I shared my story in a magazine, and I've recently audio recorded myself reading the story, and I posted on my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, like once every couple days or whatever. But I'll post it on this page today, so that you can hear me reading my story in case you don't have time to read, which I totally understand. Because in January 2018, I had a problem and I realized that my life was going to go into a ditch. It was going to head into a ditch if I did not change things and change them fast. And so I made some pretty radical changes and had some pretty amazing results in a short amount of time. In a miraculously short amount of time. Like, even I was surprised. I thought it would take me 5 years to get to the point where I was at, and it took 14 months. Probably would have taken shorter than that, but yeah. Anyway, so but this year, so I started this business in January of 2019, fully a year after this whole like financial crisis thing that I had. And now it's September, but it feels like it should be December. I don't know why I keep thinking it's December. Every time I count time, I count from December, and I'm like, it's September. There's a whole fourth quarter of 2019 left, and everything that I've done this year in starting my business is like really would be like 5 or 10 years worth of work. Because if I was working at the same pace that I used to work at, which is kind of like think it through, you know, go to school for 100 years to figure out how to do it, and, you know, go the long route and all this kind of stuff, procrastinate, say someday, and someday, then it would have taken me 5 to 10 years. But instead, it's taken me 9 months. And so I had an epiphany yesterday. Did I finish the intro? Did I finish telling you this is Travel Chat, the show where I use my super long commute to talk through my personal development and my epiphanies? So that's where this comes in. Ding, 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 epiphany. So yesterday I had this epiphany after a coaching call where I realized that time is getting a bad rap. Now, I realized this before, because I realized I needed to heal my relationship with time, because we blame time on everything. You know, we're like, I mean, we blame time for everything. If we're late, we're like, oh, I was running late and time got away from me, and all these kinds of negative things we say about time. Just the same way that we say negative things about money. I don't have enough money. I'm always broke, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds like you're blaming money. And it's like, how you gonna blame money? You did that to yourself. So I realized that because I was trying to fix my relationship with money, and I got to a certain point where I had healed my relationship with money, but I still had this negative attitude and this bad relationship with time. So I said, well, let me apply the same principles to time as I did with money. So I kind of had this mini epiphany about time, and it was crazy how time was bending, and I was like having these crazy experiences with time, and then it stopped. And I realized it was because I didn't firmly have a grasp on what the thought was half-baked. I couldn't exactly grasp it. Well, yesterday I had a coaching call, and it wasn't about time at all. It was about money. It was kind of about money. It was kind of like about like why we should stop focusing on money. It was more of that kind of thing. But I ended up having an epiphany about time. Or I should say the rest of the epiphany that I had 2 or 3 months ago, I finally had the rest of that epiphany about time. So first off, I should tell you, if you want to know what the heck I'm talking about as far as my epiphany and healing my relationship with money, I created 2 courses, because during this 14 months that I was working to get out of debt, and I was healing my relationship with money, it actually didn't take 14 months. So it took 6 months. The first 8 months was me trying to figure out how to budget and learn how to, I was creating a budget diary, but I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I was just trying to figure out how to make budgeting fun and not totally suck, so I would actually do it and like doing it, and I ended up really, really, really liking to do it. It's a lot of fun. But the last 6 months, everything just it was like grease lightning, because that's when I started working on my relationship with money. And everything that I was doing during that time, so during the first part of 2019, I have all these little practices that I would do, all these little mindset tricks and tips that I would do. Hey, Brandy. And Brandy, remind me, I have something to add on to that. We were talking about the 11 senses yesterday. I heard Bob Proctor this morning. I was like, oh, I got to tell them that. If Brandy is on, I'm going to tell him. But so anyway, so in the first part of 2019, all of these little weird tips and tricks and tactics I was using to heal my relationship with money, I had them all, like, did I even have them written down? Like, I just did them. I had so many of them. Some of them I've written down, but only because I'm a little OCD. They're not so difficult that I had to, like, keep notes on them. It's just to remind myself, oh, you were doing this, you were doing that. I document things. That's what I do. I document a lot of things. So I took all of those. I took 8 of them because I have a lot. I have probably like 50 different ideas that I had. It's similar to this. If you're dating somebody and you want to, like, woo the person, you have, like, all these things that you think of doing, right? Like, oh, we can go to the zoo. Oh, we could go for a walk in the park. You know, we can have a picnic. Like, you have all these things. So it's not like you have, like, 5 things you do with every person you date, but you have all these ideas of, like, how to woo the person, how to spend more time with them. So I was thinking of money like a person, and I was trying to heal my relationship with money. So I had, like, all of these ideas, like over 20, way more than 20 ideas of, like, how I could relate to money and change the relationship from something stressful to something loving. Like, from being totally freaked out, you know, to get a bill, totally stressed out if I even think about paying a bill, to actually, like, looking forward to it and setting money aside and that kind of thing, and, like, really figuring out how to make it work. So I took 8 of these ideas that I had, and I put them in a free course that you can get if you go to my website and you sign up on the email. Hey, Jessica, you sign up on the email list. This is not like an email list where I'm going to send you a bunch of promotions. It's a totally different email list. This one, you'll get the 8 tips. So it's called 8 Easy Tips to Manifest More Money. And it is so right when you sign up, you'll get an email telling you, like, hey, you know, this is what you got. In 3 days you're gonna get another email, and you'll start getting the tips once a week. And so if you sign up today, you'll get an email today with my videos, like a real quick little video saying, hey, it looks just like this. Well, I'm not in the car and I'm not wearing this shirt, but you'll get a real quick video that tells you, like, this is what you're gonna get. Thanks for signing up. And then 3 days after that, you'll get another video with tip number 1. Fun tips, right? And then every week, you'll get a tip. So what you're supposed to do is, when you get your tip, you start doing that in your life. Like, whatever wacky cat lady thing I say, okay, this is what I was doing, then start doing it. And they're easy, they're simple, they don't cost a thing. It just takes time for you to remember to do it. And you'll have those emails forever with the video there that you could always go back and look if you wanted to. I don't know why you want to, but you can always look at that and be like, okay, yeah, I remember I'm supposed to be doing this. And you do that for the whole week. And then the next week, you'll get another video with some other little, and they don't take a lot of time. It's just real quick little things that you do throughout your day. Brandy knows this because she was in the, hey, Tanya. She was in the mastermind group. So, you know, like, I'll give you affirmations and stuff like that and be like, are you doing your affirmations? Do your affirmations. You know, several times a day you have to say your affirmations. These tips are not all affirmations. I think maybe one of them is an affirmation, but they're just little things that you incorporate in your day that help you to think about money in a better way. So there's 8 tips in that email course. So if you sign up for that, you'll start getting those to your email inbox. All you have to do is open it up when you get it, listen to the little quick video, and go about your business, try to incorporate it into your life. And then by the end of the 8 weeks, you'll have 8 new tips that you do that heal your relationship with money. So that was 8 of those things. And then I took 12 more because I have a million of them. I took 12 more of those same tips that I was doing during that 6-month period where money was just flooding into my mailbox. I was just getting random checks in the mail and all this kind of crazy stuff because I'd healed my relationship with money. I became a comfortable place for money to be around instead of like a toxic energy that no money would ever want to be around. If you're blaming your money, let me tell you, it's just like a person. It's not going to want to hang around you because you're too negative. Why am I so greasy? I am shiny, y'all. It's that fall. The fall love is kicking in. So I took 12 more tips and I made them into a course. This is the course I've been talking about for like 6 months. Cash BFF. That's what I call it. Cash BFF. How to make money your best friend forever. And these 12 tips are also really fun, awesome, super funny tips that they are not in any particular order. So the free tips that you get in your email are not as good as the 12 tips that you'll get if you take the course, like the paid course. It's not any different from that. Like I had my whole list and I just randomly picked 8 and randomly picked the other 12 to go, and I have some other ones that I don't even know what I'm gonna do with them. I guess I'll use them for my mastermind group. But the 12 tips is not like these are superior, so you must pay for them. They're all fun, they're all effective, and they're all help you just have a better a better attitude when it comes to money and paying bills. And they help you to be a point where you're like an attraction for money to be attracted into your life. The course is not out yet. It should be out on Friday. It actually is done. I actually filmed it. It should be out on Friday. The thing about the course though is that there's more stuff to it. So it's not just like when you get the email, you just get the video and a little bit of writing at the bottom and saying like, hey, I hope you enjoy this, blah, blah, blah. But if you're in the course has its own website. It has its own little freebies to go along with it. It has like a lot of other stuff on the website for the course. So that is that. What was I talking about? Oh yes. So hey Diane, when I started healing my relationship with money, these are the things that I was doing. And now I'm at this point where I had this epiphany about time, and it is a very similar kind of idea. Is that, anytime you have a negative thought process about something, like you're only going to get negative feedback back from it, because it's like you're looking for negative. You're looking for something bad, like I'm running late, I'm always late, I'm always, so I'm always going to be late because I'm always expecting myself to be late. The other day, I was signing, we had like this timesheet we have to sign. I don't know why. I always put the same numbers in, they're not the right numbers. But I was signing it in, and I signed myself in early, right? It's not an official timesheet. Like our boss is even like, I don't even know why we're signing this, but just whatever, put whatever you want. So I signed myself in early because I wanted to see what would happen. And I looked down at it and it just felt foreign, right? And so I was telling you guys about this before. When you create something in your mind and you look at that, or you tell your brain, like by using your imagination, you tell your brain like, no, this is real. Like I'm a millionaire. That's what's happening. And your brain is like, what? Are we a millionaire? Like, when did this happen? Like, what? And we don't have any money in the bank. What are we doing? How are we a millionaire? So your brain gets confused because it can't reconcile those two realities. The reality that you are broke is a joke, and the reality that you're telling yourself that you're a millionaire. It's like your brain tries to like bring those back together, so it'll start giving you ideas about how you can make money. Like, well, like in Diane's case, what if I just answer the phone when people are trying to pay me for stuff? Like, people want to buy things from me. What if I just not let it go to voicemail? I am going to rib you for that for the rest of your life, by the way, because that is the funniest thing to me. So your brain will start to give you these little ideas about how you can make your reality in your head the reality in your real life. Because let me tell you this, reality is bullcrap. Like the see it, hear it, touch it. You know what? Brandy, I'm gonna hit it up right now. I hope this is in order. I have not had coffee today, y'all, but believe me. But the reality that you see with your 5 senses, that you see, hear, touch, taste, and smell, That reality is your now reality. That's how you interact with the outer world. That's how you perceive your outer world, and that is total BS. Like, that's already done. All that stuff is here. Like, it's like gum that the flavor's already been chewed out of. Like, that's old news. Whatever you see, that's old news. But the reality that you perceive with those other 6 senses that Bob Proctor talks about, that reality is how you connect with your inner reality. And those are, if I can remember them, I'm trying to remember all 6. So it is perception, intuition, imagination, will, memory, and something else. It's probably the same one I couldn't remember yesterday. Perception, imagination, will, memory, intuition, and whatever the 6th one is. But these are, and I think I could remember perception yesterday. I can't remember. But these senses are how we relate to our inner reality. Our inner reality. So imagination, that's how you relate to your inner reality. And what happens is reason. Did I say reason? No, reason. Okay, perception, intuition, imagination, will, memory, and reason. Thank you. Thank you. I should have that tattooed somewhere. Or at least written on a post-it note stuck in my car until I memorize it. Thank you, ma'am. So that's how you connect with your inner reality. And so what you do if you use all 11 senses is that you take the 5 senses and you make them work against the 6 senses. No, I'm just kidding. But you take the 6 senses that Bob Proctor gave us and you use them to create this reality that your brain now has to reconcile with the other reality that it faces with the 5 senses. So if your imagination and your will, your will to be whatever it is you want to be, if that reality inside of you that's connected to God is telling you, or you're using it to tell your brain, like, this is my reality now. I have enough money. I have all that I need. My bills are paid and I have money in the bank. That is going to tell your brain that your physical reality, the 5 senses that you have, your hear, smell, touch, taste, and feel, touch, feel, and not the same thing. Whatever, it's sight, you know what I mean? That's wrong. So they're not going to match. So one is going to tell you you're broke. The other one is going to tell you that you have enough and you have extra, and your brain is going to have to figure out how to make a match, because the brain is always trying to figure out how to make all this match. And that's why if you try to change your inner reality and you try to change your life, all kind of crazy stuff happens before it gets better, because your brain is like, no, we got to make the car break down because I'm not sure what's happening right now. Or I got to give you the flu because I don't understand what you're doing right now. And a lot of times that'll stop us and we sink back into the comfort zone, because we're like, I was talking to a girl yesterday and she said, I was going to go to nursing school, and as soon as I got accepted, my husband had this bad wreck and I decided not to go. And I heard that and I said, yeah, I hear that. But you know what? Try again, and next time something bad is going to happen. Like, no doubt, something bad is going to happen. Push through it anyway. Do it anyway, because that is your brain, your reality. That's something that's trying to stop you from getting out of your comfort zone. It's like, I see you trying to make your life better, but we're good right here. Like, we're good at this income level. We're good at this level of busyness. We're good. I should put my hands on the wheel. We're good at, right at the level of person that we are. Let's keep it right here and just kind of don't rock the boat. Like, don't try to do anything else. We're good right here. And I told her, like, next time push through it, because once you push through that like month of all hell breaking loose, like everything going wrong that could possibly go wrong, it's so easy after that. Your intuition kicks in, you start making moves, you start getting doors open left and right. All these things are just flowing into your life because you've decided to change and you push through to that other side of it. So when it comes to time and it comes to money, so going back to healing relationships with money, I talk to my money. I do. And now I've added something other wacky onto it, but I call my money by name, right? So yesterday I had to get money from the ATM because I usually would get money on Mondays. Yesterday was Tuesday, so I was a day late. But I'll get money because I do like the cash envelopes, but not a ton. I only do 3 cash envelopes. Anyway, I broke a 20, so I traded Andrew for something. Andrew, right? I traded Andrew Jackson. I traded him for something, and I got back 2 Abes and 4 Georges. And when I got it, I was like, Abe, George, welcome. And my kids were like, who's Abe and who's George? And I was like, say hi to George, guys. So I was gonna give them each $1, which I ended up taking back afterwards. Like I gave it to them, but then when they set it down, because they're 4, and I just like put it back in my wallet, but I made them think they were getting something. So I was like, here, say hello to George. And my daughter, she goes, I don't want to say hi to George. Like, who are you talking to? Like, she was just like, I don't want to say hi to George. I don't want to say hi to Abe. I don't even know who you're talking to. And it was kind of, it felt familiar, like it felt right. It felt familiar because I talked to my money so much. I'm like, I need to start calling these jokers by name, except Mr. Grant. I need to look up President Grant because he is not happy. And you know, I don't even get many President Grants. He's on the 50. And how did I have one? I happen to have one in my house because my father-in-law gave us some cash, and I just, instead of like depositing it, I put it somewhere in the house, and I found it to do my Cash BFF course videos. I wanted to have it, and I was like, ooh, he does not look like a friendly guy at all. So I don't even call him by his first name. I can't even remember what his first name is. I should look him up because that's American history and we should all know that. But I was just calling him Mr. Grant. So I was like, I had a Ben. So I had a Ben, an Abe, an Alex, who's my favorite, by the way, just because of Hamilton, a George, and a Mr. Grant. And that's the way it was. So I was thinking about that and how I've totally healed my relationship with money. So instead of being like an adversary to money, like it never comes when I want it to come and it leaves before I know it, instead of feeling that way, I now feel like it's doing what it's supposed to do. Money flows into and out of our life because that's what money is supposed to do. And money should never be our focus. Money, and this is so weird, like I had to work on this for like a month. Money should never be our focus. What should be our focus is what we're trading the money for. Because money is just a tool. When I was paying off debt, I was selling everything. I wasn't the best seller, but I was selling things and we were chipping away. But then I had this idea that in my imagination, I would go and meet the version of me who was already debt free. And I gave her a name. I called her 24 because it would be FRAN in 2024. 24 didn't have any debt. Like, she was cool. She didn't have debt. All her bills were paid and she has money in the bank. So I went to her house and I looked around and I met the kids when they were like older, and I, did all the stuff, and I decided to see what it was that she was doing that I wasn't doing. And whenever I felt discouraged, I would go like in the shower. I'd be in the shower and I'd be like, let me go visit 24 in my head, because I just want to remind myself that this is just temporary. And it made me feel so hopeful. Now, I felt like a wet puppy dog when I was like the shabby me standing in front of the future version of me, because she was glamorous and she smelled nice, and it was just like, I was just like this frump girl, and this is who I wanted to become. So in doing that, now that was magic. Hey Jairus, that was magic, because my brain could not figure out what the heck was going on, because in my imagination I was meeting the version of me who was like amazing and like not in debt and not having sleepless nights and not crying when the tax bill came and not freaking out and didn't have a poor relationship with money. My brain was saying, who is this person and who are you and what's happening and what are we doing? And it was like an explosion where my brain was like, ah! And suddenly it started to give me clues on how to make these two people the same person, because it couldn't figure out like what was going on. So it was like, okay, if you're not going to have any debt, then this is what you need to do. And all these little ideas started coming from January 2019 until June. All these ideas came and we got out of debt super fast. So here's the thing. March 23rd. On March 23rd, I got four checks. No, I can't even remember. That's crazy. Either 4 checks in the mail or 3 checks in the mail. But these checks totaled up to like all of our debt. We got checks. We cashed out our life payments, and we got like all these checks, and debt was potentially totally gone. But the checks were like, I had deposited them electronically, but they were sitting in front of me, and I was going to have to pay the bill. I mean, you know, pay off all the debts. Like I was going to pay off my car. Like right then and there, I could pay off my car, my student loan, the IRS bill, and I had a loan from my 401k from my old job. I could pay off all those, and then there was another one too. I think maybe my husband's student loan or something, but we could pay them off all at once. So in the same day that all this money came, all this money could leave. And that is what money is supposed to do. So while we're focused on, I need to get money, I need to get money, I need to get money, we also say, easy come, easy go. Right? And we get like a little upset about that, because it's like, I heard this one guy yesterday, I was watching his YouTube video, and he was like, I was a millionaire for a day because he sold his company and he made like $1 million. He was like, I was a millionaire, and then I had to pay taxes, and then I wasn't a millionaire anymore. And so we get so caught up in that because we're like, I want this money, I want this money. Well, why do you want money? Money is, you're supposed to spend it on things. Either you spend it on something and it's gone, or like you've traded it so you have something else of value, or you put it in the bank to be saved and to grow and to multiply, in which case it's still gone. Like money should never be the focus, because it's flowing. Hey Tammy, it's gonna flow in and out of your life. It's gonna come, it's gonna go. That's what it's supposed to do. It's like oxygen. Money is gonna come like oxygen comes into your lungs. There's an exchange, you breathe it out. You don't hold your breath. You don't like take a deep breath and then I'm gonna hold on to this for the rest of the day because I don't know if I'm ever gonna breathe again. No, you breathe it in, you breathe it out, you take for granted that it's gonna come and it's gonna go. So you don't, we shouldn't make money the focus, because when you make money the focus, you're always gonna be disappointed because there's never gonna be enough, because you're gonna spend it again. Comes in, goes out, and you're like, oh, I need more. Comes in, goes out, I need more, I need more, I need more. But the things that you want that are of value, those should be the things that matter. So the end game is the thing that matters. The thing that makes your life better and easier and work, you know, more efficiently is the end game. And that may or may not require money. But money has nothing to do with it. Just like, I think it was yesterday when I was saying like rich people, because we were talking about luxury. Maybe that was Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, that was 2 days ago. Rich people, you know, we had this idea about rich people, like, oh, they're crooked people, they murder people to get ahead, that kind of thing you see on Dynasty. And it's like, rich people do bad things. Poor people do bad things. Some poor people are murdering people, and, you know, it's the same thing. Like, rich people do bad things, poor people do bad things, people in the middle do bad things. People do bad things, so why are we blaming money? Right? We should not be blaming money. Money is a common denominator in all these things. We can't say that like, oh, it's the money's fault, that person's crooked. No, we have crooked and corrupt people who are not rich also. Same deal, same deal. So take Andrew, Ben, Mr. Grant, George don't have nothing to do with it. George is he's just buying bubblegum and stuff like that. Poor George. You can't hardly buy anything with George these days. So y'all take pity on George and even Abe Lincoln. You know, they're not worth as much as they used to be. So they're like they do the heavy lifting in our wallets. Like they're the ones who get traded out the fastest, George and Abe. So give them a break. But Ben, you know, take Ben out of the equation. It's not his fault. If somebody does something bad to get more Benjamins, that's not his fault. So don't blame him. And so now I'm finally getting to my topic, time, which it'll be small because I don't, you know, I'm still learning about time. But take time out of the equation. Time has nothing to do with it. Time has nothing to do with your productivity. I can prove it. Not scientifically, but I can prove it by example. So like I said, I started my business in January and it is just September, and I've done 5 to 10 years worth of work. I've done 5 to 10 years worth of work in my business. I didn't even realize it. I was just taking little bits of time, doing what I could, working on the weekends when I could, between, you know, being a mommy and all this kind of stuff. But I was doing little, and I didn't realize, I kept thinking, I need to do more, I have all these ideas, I need to implement them. But I showed by one of my websites to a friend, and he just looking at it from his point of view, because he was going, oh my gosh, you've done a lot, you've done all this, you made all these videos, you've put all, I had like, I thought I didn't have time to type anything out, but when I showed it to him, I was like, wow, look at all, I've actually typed out like a whole boatload of stuff. And so I looked back and I thought, dang, I really have done a lot. I've done a lot in a very short amount of time. And anybody who knows me personally, who looks at my life, is like, how are you doing this? Right? And it wasn't until yesterday that I was like, how am I doing this? Because I've been blaming time. I've been blaming time. And I've been saying, these two, that my life cannot continue this way. This is what I was thinking before this epiphany yesterday. That I'm away from home for 11 hours a day, right? I have 2 hours of a commute and a 9-hour full-time job that, you know, is not at all related to what my business is doing. So they're two totally separate things. The only time I can work on my business is on my lunch break. And that's not even every day, because sometimes I don't even get a lunch break, which is why we lie on our timesheet, because if we told them every day we didn't get a lunch break, we came in and we left late and all this stuff, they'd be all mad. So we have to put on there, we work 8 to 5 with a 1-hour lunch break, and that's bull crap. Everybody knows that. So anyway, but the only times I can work on my business is if I get up super early, which I'm not able to do because I'm tired, and now I prioritize rest. If I work on my lunch break, and if I work at night in the evening before going to bed, which I also do not do because I don't want to take that time away from my kids. And plus, I'm tired. I'm a morning person, and when in the evening, nothing even makes sense except for shopping. So when I look at that and I think, okay, sometimes I work all day Saturday, sometimes I take the kids out on Saturday and I work all day Sunday, sometimes I'm doing the housework all weekend. How the heck has it been that I've been able to build this website more than once? Because you know, I'm just learning how to do this. It's not my expertise. So I made one, it was crap, I got rid of it, made another one, I've been refining it. I made all the set of videos for the Budget Diary Hub. They were crap. I made a new set of videos. They're crap. I made another. I'm making a course instead of videos. I'm making just a course to go with it. And so it's like, how am I able to do all this stuff when logically I look back at it and I'm like, when did I even do that? I look at what I made and I'm like, how did I even put that together? Like, if you really look at the amount of time that I've had to spend on this, it's not been very much time, but I've done a lot of stuff. And yesterday, my epiphany was that time has nothing to do with it. Time has absolutely nothing to do with it, because you know what happens is that you either cooperate with the universe or you work against the universe. And what I've done more often than not is that I've been cooperating with the universe. Whenever I'm working on my business, I start out by meditating. I start out by doing this 10-minute guided meditation, visualization for creativity. And I always start out by doing that because I know I need to get in the zone like really quick. I don't have 6 hours to get in the zone so that I can start working in flow. Like, I need to be in flow really quickly. So I'll get up, I'll meditate first and foremost. I mean, of course, after I brush my teeth, after I make a little breakfast, after I get my coffee going, and I'll meditate and I'll just quiet my mind. And when I quiet my mind and I tap into what's called alignment, is that you get in line with your inner being. So my higher power, God, is helping me. And by tapping into being on the same wavelength as God, what happens is the way is smoother. And you've experienced this too, where you've had days where you got up, everything went well, you didn't spill coffee on your shirt and have to change it 3 times, like you got dressed, your lunch, you went out, you had all the green lights on your way to work, there was no traffic, everything was absolutely beautiful, life worked well that entire day, you logged onto your computer, everything was working, you got the perfect email at the perfect time, you got the perfect this and the perfect that, and it was just like a smooth day, thus flow. You and the universe are aligned to where as soon as you need it, it's right there. It's an amazing thing when it happens. So in that case, time is irrelevant. You can have a lot of time and totally F off your time. You can totally screw up your time by surfing on the internet, scrolling on Facebook. You can totally screw up your time and be inefficient. Like I could waste a lot of time, or I can get into flow and then have things like work out, and then the same amount of time be highly productive. So time has nothing to do with it. So this is how I came to this epiphany. We were on a coaching call. We were talking about something totally different. And after the coaching call, he gave us some homework. And I was thinking about this homework, and I was very nervous. Like, I had palpitations. I was very extremely nervous because I was like, if I do this homework, and because he wanted us to ask, we had to set our desires. Set your desires. Say what you want, and then do this other stuff, easy stuff like I'm telling you, and it's going to happen. And I was like, oh no, I can't do that. I can't. And I told him, I said, I feel very nervous about this homework because I feel like if I do this, then I'm going to get fired from my job. And he's like, why, and not because it would go against my job, but just because if I ask for my business to take off, I know I won't quit my job, but I would have to be fired because that's the only way that God would drag me out of there kicking and screaming. Like the only way that I would leave, I love my job, I love the people I work with. The only way that I would do my business full time at this point in time is if Dr. V comes in the office, he's like, you know what, we gotta let you go. Right? So I'm like, oh no, I can't ask God to make my business profitable right now because then I'm gonna get fired. And that can't happen. I need health insurance, right? Like I need at least until June when my husband gets a job. So it's so funny. So he's like, no, you need to work on your fear. Work on your fear, because that's irrational, right? So we get off the call, and I'm thinking, okay, work on my fear. Work on my fear. And I said, okay, what is my problem? What is my problem right now between the reality in my head and reality in my real life? What's not matched up? And I said, time is not matching up. Time is my problem, right? I was blaming time. Time is my problem. I don't have enough time. I have a book of ideas, a boatload of ideas, but I don't have enough time to implement them because I have this commute and I work at this job and I come home and I'm tired and I only have the weekend, blah, 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 blah. Like I don't have enough time. And then I thought, well, what if time was irrelevant? Like just how we say money is irrelevant because rich people have it and poor people don't, and they're still bad or they're still good, it doesn't matter. The money is just the in between. What if time is in between? What if the 40 years of me not being a productive person, well, I was productive. I mean, I went to med school and stuff like that, but let's just say, 40 years of not 40 years because there was no Netflix, but let's say a year. Okay, fine. Let's say a year of Netflix and chill, front girl, don't care, how is that related to a year of super highly productive me this year, 2019, highly productive, 2018, let's say 2017, not productive at all, 2019, highly productive. There was still time in each of those equations. Like time was there in 2017. Time keeps on ticking into the future, right? Time is still there in 2017. Time is still there in 2019. What's the difference between a super highly productive year and a super unproductive year? It's not time, because time was there either time. It's not time. It's what I tapped into to make my time work for me, right? It's being connected to source. It's being aligned. It's being in flow, where whatever I needed would just show up quickly, really quickly, y'all, really quickly. Magic. That's why I say magic all the time. I know it's not magic, it's not witchcraft, but dang, it happens fast. So once I realized that, so I was like, I started out by saying time is my problem. But what if time is not an issue? What if it's not time? What do I need if I have this same amount of time? Just like we always say, Beyonce has the same amount of time as everybody else. If I have the same amount of time, what is the difference that's going to make it so that I can ask God for this thing to happen? Like I can have my business take off and I can still work this full-time job, and I don't have to feel like it's either or. And that's what my coach was saying. It's not this or that. It can be both. But what's the problem in between? I said it was time. It's not time. It's not time. Because what if I use my time more efficiently by, like what I said, getting into flow first. You know, having my mind quiet and being in the right place. Because if the monkey on the trampoline is jumping up and down, you can't hear yourself, you know, you can't hear the still small voice, because the voice that leads you forward, the voice of God, it's not going to yell over the monkey that's jumping on a trampoline. You know what I mean? Like that, the anxious brain, the anxious one that you have, I don't know if you guys are anxious, but I'm anxious. And that jumping on the trampoline, kind of settle down, it won't quiet down. I cannot hear God's voice over all of that racket. I got to get this monkey to sit down and shut up. And the best way that I can do that is through meditation. And it doesn't happen the first day, maybe not the second day. If you're just trying this new from it's your first time trying, it takes a little while, but it doesn't take a long while. Even if you sit for 10 minutes and you think nothing happened, you're like, well, I didn't do that right. Later on in the day, you'll get a hunch. Your intuition will kick in and you'll be like, wow, maybe the meditation actually did work, because I just got this idea. Like you're sitting having lunch with a friend and you're like, I kind of want an apple. And then they pull an apple out of their bag and like, here's one. That's a synchronicity. Like that is something that is the universe matching up. I think the way we usually talk about it is we say we're in the right time at the right place, or we're on the path. And you just feel like, okay, this must be where I'm supposed to be, because I wanted an apple and this girl got an apple in her bag of all things, and she gives it to me the moment I say I like an apple. And that's how you know. So those little things will start happening more and more and more. Here's another example. I was sometimes I meditate when I get to work, because what I have to do at work, I could either have a day full of interruptions and I get nothing done, or I can have a day where it's nice and quiet and I'm highly productive. I love highly productive days. So sometimes I'll meditate so I can make sure that my day goes smoothly. And one day I was in flow. I was aligned. I felt in alignment. I just felt good. I felt light. I felt great. And this thought popped into my head, and I said, I wonder how I could use Loom in my business. And Loom, Jessica knows this, because I think I told this story in SOS Club, and I've asked this question to people in SOS Club. Like, how does Loom work? If you've ever been on a webinar where like somebody's showing you their actual screen, but they have their little face in that little bubble at the bottom. I was like, I wonder if little old me, I wonder if I could do that, if I could use that kind of technology. And an hour later, I'm checking my email, and I have an email from the team at Loom. Now, I didn't go on loom.com. I didn't ask to be emailed. This is like completely out of the clear blue sky. And I got an email from the team at Loom, and the subject line was like, how Loom could work in your business, or something like that. And it was like the question I had even written the question on a post-it note, because I was like, well, when you get home or whenever you get a chance, look this up and see if it can work. And it was like it was like an answer to my question in an hour. And I was like, what? And they were like, join us for this free, webinar, and we'll teach you how to use Loom in your business. And that's the kind of thing that happens when you are in flow. What you ask for is delivered very, very quickly. And time in that case is irrelevant, right? Like I could have, if I wasn't in flow, I could have gone on the internet, looked up Loom, researched it, tried to figure out how it works, watched a bunch of YouTube videos. Like I could have spent 6 hours trying to figure out how Loom works. But instead, I made sure I was in flow first, and then I just got a hunch to ask a question, and then the answer was delivered. It wasn't even like, here, go look at this website. No, it was like, here, we are in your email inbox, and if you push this button, we will tell you, you can watch a video, and we will tell you how this thing works. Just like that. And so that saved me 5.5 hours of time, right? And that's how time becomes irrelevant if you are in the zone. If you are in alignment with your creator, the one who controls time and space and reality and perception and everything else. If he's in control and you start cooperating with him and make what's important to him important to you, then he will just time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like something can happen in a very short period of time, very, very short period of time. And whatever it is that you want, and I'm telling you, dream big, you can get it immediately. So it was January when I learned how to do this with money, and it was March when we cleared over $300,000 in debt. Just like that. Like, I'm telling you, all the checks arrived on the same day, the same dang day. And the week before, we had decided to sell our rental house because this house that I was like in love with, suddenly I wasn't in love with it anymore because God changed my heart. God changed my heart and said, you know what? You can do without it. You want to get out of debt? I think that's more important. Let's take this strong feeling for this house out of your life. You can sell it. And so we had already had a plan for, hey Kelly, we already had a plan for selling the house. And so all these checks came, we paid off the debt, and now here's the house. You know, the house was gone. And so then we ended up, you know, debt free with money in the bank. So it doesn't take, I don't know, my phone just said rotate your phone. It doesn't take years and years and years and years and years for your dreams to come true. Not at all. It takes a very short amount of time. It can take a day. It can take an hour. You know why? Because there is no such thing as time. God doesn't operate confined to time, right? We know this. We've heard this in church all the time. God does not operate in any sort of constraints of time. So if you want something and you are a match to it, meaning that you have, like how I was telling you, your outer reality and you create your inner reality, and they're trying to sync together, you become a match to it, and then it just happens. Like, it has to happen. That's the law of the universe. Whatever you are a match to, you're gonna get it. Good or bad. Good or bad. So try to make it good. So anyway, I'm going to run into the meeting, and I'm going to set my intention that the meeting is going to be productive and brief and useful. And Kelly's going to be in there with me, and we are going to have a wonderful day. So thanks for listening. I hope it made sense. I have not had coffee. I promise y'all, I'm just hyped up because this epiphany I had yesterday was like a game changer for me. So I'm going to start working more with the Creator to make my way easier so that time is irrelevant, and this just like you get a lot done in a very, very short amount of time. Miracles just happen. So it is possible for you too. That's why I make these videos, so I can tell you this is what I did, this is what I thought, this is what happened, and then you can say, let me try that too. Let me just try. Got nothing to lose, right? Nothing to lose. See you later. Bye.